It was one of those summer nights where the sun lingered just beyond the horizon, casting an eerie orange haze across the crumbling facades of Oakwood's forgotten districts. In this sweltering stagnation, the very air seemed thickened, heavy with secrets that refused to be exhaled. On streets once familiar now felt suffocatingly narrow, the residents of Oakwood couldn't shake the feeling they were being watched, their own shadows mocking them back. And it started there. Amidst the stifling heat and collective unease, whispers began circulating, hushed warnings of something sinister lurking at the frayed edges of town, patiently waiting for its next victim. The rain-soaked streets of Ravenswood seemed to swallow the late-night pedestrians whole. Only the faint hum of a lonely street lamp broke the oppressive stillness. In this darkness, Emily Harris stepped out of her car, the worn tires crunching against the gravel driveway leading up to the crumbling facade of Ward Estate. Water droplets clung to her hairline as she took in the decaying grandeur. She'd received those cryptic messages weeks ago, a series of enigmatic notes scribbled with haste, hinting at something called the Whispering Wards. At first, they'd dismissed it as small-town gossip, but a nagging sense persisted. What if there was truth? And what did these whispers portend? Her boots crunched over damp leaves as Emily walked toward the rusted iron gate, its once pristine coat now weathered beyond recognition. A shiver ran down her spine as she pushed aside the flimsy chain holding it shut. Beyond lay the twisted labyrinth of hedges and thorns that marked the periphery of the abandoned estate. It reeked of rot and forgotten memories. In the distance, a muffled voice floated above the gentle patter of the rain, childlike whispers punctuated by strained sobs. No more than 3 years past, parents claimed their teenagers vanished. Similar circumstances surrounded each disappearance. Eerie similarities tied them together like brittle threads waiting to snap. On the day of her return, a chilling cold seeped beneath her skin, spreading tendrils of unease through her chest. She stood at the edge of her bed, feet heavy as if rooted to the floor. Her fingers trailed over the sheets, tracing the faint creases where she'd lain. A thread snapped, leaving behind a small snag. She yanked it free, but the fabric remained rough against her palm. A low hum emanated from outside, vibrating through the walls. It grew louder, becoming an insistent thrumming that made her teeth ache. She winced, covering her ears with hands now slick with sweat. Her gaze drifted toward the window, where morning light should have poured in, illuminating dust motes dancing in sunbeams. Instead, shadows clung to the glass like damp shrouds, darkening the air within. Outside, the humming intensified. It sounded almost human, though impossible. A muffled cry pierced the din, sending her heart racing into a staccato beat. She took 2 hesitant steps back, eyes scanning the room as if searching for some clue hidden among the scattered belongings. Every surface seemed askew, books tilted on shelves, clothes strewn across chairs. Yet nothing leapt out as obviously wrong. Still, this sense of disquiet persisted, burrowing deeper than reason could reach. Breathing shallow, she approached the door. Fumbling for the handle, her hand encountered something sticky and warm clinging to the doorknob. A rivulet of wetness trickled down her wrist as her grip relaxed, releasing a droplet onto the carpet. Coppery tang flooded her mouth, making her stomach lurch. Blood. Someone else's blood. The humming reached a crescendo, forcing her backward until she pressed against the wall, palms flat on cool paint. Panic began its slow, insidious creep up her spine. The sound coalesced into distinct forms, footsteps thudding past her bedroom, growing fainter by the second. Whatever was happening, it happened without her. Suddenly silenced, the house fell still, except for her ragged breathing and the creaks of settling woodwork. In the hushed pause, she detected another noise, a soft scratching against the wall nearby. As she stood frozen at the door, the dripping blood pooling beneath her feet like liquid hell, the silence shattered once more. Footsteps trudged past the bedroom again, heavy and deliberate, each step pounding out a morbid cadence that vibrated through the soles of her shoes. A groan escaped her lips, trembling with every heartbeat. Her hands trembled, releasing the doorknob's warmth, leaving behind the slick residue of him, something. She couldn't form words now, only the crushing dread seeping into her pores kept her anchored to reality. Each footstep grew louder, echoing off walls, rebounding off furniture. Shadows danced along baseboards, dark puppeteers pulling marionettes through the night. Breathless gasps punctuated each passing moment. Then, abruptly, all ceased. Silence slammed shut like an iron lid, suffocating any remaining hope. Footsteps resumed, but closer. Behind her, each tread marked time, ticking away seconds until her name, her own voice trembles. Michael? Echoes clung to walls like damp kisses, mocking her desperate cry. Michael! Still no answer. Instead, something scratched furiously against the bed frame beside her head. Blood-stained knuckles pounded against the door next. Let me in. His panicked bellow shook plaster loose above. For God's sake, let me in! Slick palms grasped door handles, yanking them open with such force that hinges screamed protest. A body lunged into her room, careening toward the window where morning light should have pierced through shadows. His torso struck glass with enough force to shatter it, or what remained, sending shards spraying inward like jagged teeth. Shattered panes framed his contorted face, skin blistered and raw, hair slick with blood-tinged sweat. Clinging to shattered remains, he swayed toward her as if drawn by threads invisible yet inexorable. Eyes wide, unseeing, searched for solace beyond vacant windowsills. Skin cracked anew across forehead, shoulders, arms, the ripples spreading outward as flesh unraveled from bone. What happened? His broken whisper hung suspended between heartbeats, then vanished into voids beyond comprehension. Time lost meaning, measured only in frantic breathlessness and clawing steps backward, pursued by unseen horrors burrowing deeper than reason could ever chase. In desperation, Emily fled further back into rooms, searching anywhere else except. Beneath cold floors and dusty air vents, hidden places waited patiently for their return, darkness waiting to reclaim its due. The last echo of panic was consumed by sudden stillness, surrendering all control. When it reasserted itself, a final choice had already been made. And now I lay here, fingers slowly disintegrating within blisters oozing pus-like fluids down my wrists, listening to muffled screams from unknown depths nearby. My eyes are being torn apart by bursting pressure inside cranium, releasing yellow fluid onto this fetid earth beneath Ward Estate. The screaming is coming from within myself. Here's a closing narration for the horror video. Ragged breathing. In Ravenswood, the streets seem quiet once more, but at dawn, when sunlight creeps over crumbling facades, shadows twist into grotesque forms. Forgotten whispers remain buried, echoes still reverberating through damp cellars, secret passages hidden behind walls. Perhaps they'll never be silenced. Pause, followed by faint whimpers in the distance. Those who listen closely might pick up on hints of despairing voices, pleas for help, anguished cries lost amidst relentless dripping water. The past continues to seep through forgotten memories. The story doesn't end. The decay festers on. It spreads through every crack and corner, each moment slipping farther into an endless night. The question lingers, what lies just out of sight?